Hi friends, this is Joe. This is episode number 164, I think, of the Decahedron RPG podcast. And today I want to talk about Notebook LM as a tool for player introduction to a campaign, I guess. So if you don't know, Notebook LM is a Google AI product, but as opposed to being a general AI and making stuff up, you give it the information that it's going to use. And so the idea I had was, what if I give it all the notes I have for a campaign and let it do its thing? And its thing is it can create handouts and like a white paper type thing, or it can create an audio podcast. I was like, what if I gave it the notes for a campaign and had it create the the podcast, and it's like a 15-minute thing, and would that be a good introduction to the campaign for the players? Would they be more likely to digest a 15-minute podcast versus reading all these notes that I wrote? So I gave that a try, and we're going to recreate that here. I'm going to go inside and I'm going to show you how to upload all these things, and then the rest of the episode will be listening to the two AI voices talk about this campaign world. And by the way, the campaign world is called Meadow Creek. It's a little one I created for a Tunnels and Trolls game that was supposed to happen with James and Jason from the Nerds RPG Variety Cast and Daniel from Bandits Keep. It never quite happened. It might still happen someday. I kind of hope it does. But yeah, this is the world I created for that adventure, which was probably overkill because it's really intended to be a one-shot. But I love creating game worlds. I've talked about that before. And not all of that was original. I recycled it from some previous game worlds. Let's head back inside and give that a try. Hi, friends. This is Joe. I'm back inside now. I'm sitting at my computer. My computer's down here, so if you're watching on YouTube and I'm looking downwards a lot, that's why. If you're listening to the podcast, I'm going to try to keep this as non-video needed as necessary, but you still might get the most out of seeing it on the video. I try not to do that in a lot of episodes, but in this case, it might be unavoidable. But I will try to describe everything. I will try to not make it overly visual basis. So to get to Notebook LM, just open up the search engine of your choice. I like DuckDuckGo. A lot of people like Google. Some people like Bing. Some people might still use Yahoo. I don't know. But DuckDuckGo, and you just look for Google Labs. I already did that. It's here on the screen. By the way, if you're watching the screen, I'm in the lower right-hand corner. Hi. And Google Labs, in my case, it's the very first thing that comes up. So I'm just going to click on Google Labs. When you get to Google Labs, it has their little splashy page. Easiest way to find it is just to scroll down, say View All, and that will show you everything that they have that you can play with. And in my case, in the top row, all the way to the right, is Notebook LM. And you can click Try It Now. And it brings up another page where you can click Try Notebook LM. And then it brings you to this page and it shows you a lot of other notebooks that you might have had open. In my case, for what we're doing, I'm going to click this button that says Create New. And that says add a source to get started. And we're just going to upload a source. And it says that sources can be PDFs, text, Markdown, audio, like MP3 players, MP3 things. Like I could put in my podcast and it would make a podcast about my podcast. How weird is that? On the bottom, there's also this thing where you can link to a YouTube video and it will use that as a source for its information, or you can link to a website. Not every website allows it. And in my case, all these information I actually put on a wiki for the players to read, but that website doesn't allow Notebook LM to see it, or Notebook LM refuses to talk to that website whichever, it doesn't work. But I have all the files on Markdown because I'm kind of a geek. I like Markdown, but like I said, you could use text or PDF if you wanted. So I'm just going to say, choose a file. Well, actually, we can drag and drop. Here they are. And actually, to make things easier, I'm going to grab all 7 files here and drag them in one go. It's weird. It said 6 files. Oh, it is 6. I can't count. And it's uploading those files. That's all there is to it. You upload the files. It has all the information. Like I said, it's 6 files. I'm not sure if any of my players ever looked at these 6 files. I gave them the links. Who knows? But if you look all the way to the right-hand side, it says Deep Dive Conversation. 2 hosts, English only. So this is going to make a podcast episode using a male voice and a female voice talking about this content right here. And there's this button where you can say customize. And I'm going to do that. And you can tell it to focus on like just one of the sources or do whatever. I'm going to give it the instruction to give a brief overview intended for new players to introduce them to the setting. All right. So for the custom instructions, I said, give an overview of the unique aspects of this game world. The target audience is new players for the campaign. And you just click generate. And you wait. I'm going to fast forward. This really does take a bit. Hi friends, I'm back. It took just about 5 minutes exactly. It says here, actually, if you're looking at the screen, it says here that the length of the video is, of the audio is 20 minutes and 27 seconds. And so the remainder of this episode is going to be that output. So you can listen to it and you can tell me what you think. Do you think that this is a good way for players to be introduced to a game world, a campaign? Would you, as a player, be more likely to listen to this even though it takes 20 minutes, although listening to it at like 1.5x speed, that would be, what, 12, 13 minutes? Or would you be more likely to read all the web pages, or do you want none of it? You just want to show up into the game and play. That's fair. A lot of people are like that. I haven't listened to this yet. What I can tell you from when I've done this before, when I was prepping for the episode and when I was just playing around with other stuff, is that it is 99% accurate. As AI does every so often, it makes something up and shoves it in there. But in my cases, they've been minor. And it was something I could easily tell players, well, AI made that part up, ignore that. It's going to be a little different or whatever. Yeah, so that's it. Tell me what you think. I'm very curious. I think it's just like from a technological point of view, it's neat. It's, cool. But is it useful? I think so, but I don't know. Would you listen to it? So I'm going to sign out now. Like I said, the rest of the show will be the robots talking. I'll try to come up with some graphics for the YouTube audience. They won't be motion graphics though, although maybe I'll change them up. I don't know. Watch and find out. So thanks for watching and your listening. And until next time, happy gaming, happy life. Bye.
All right, so you're getting ready to jump into Meadow Creek for your first session home. Lucky you. This place is incredible, and we want to make sure you're not just rolling dice, but really, live in this world.
Yeah.
So think of this as your crash course in Meadow Creek.
The deep dive.
From, like, the legends that the dwarves whisper to the secrets hidden in the village, in the heart of the village.
Oh, yeah.
We've even got some insider info on some key NPCs you'll want to watch out for, keep an eye on.
Yeah, it's like having a cheat sheet, but for the story of the game, not just the rules.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Knowing the context of your actions, that's what separates a good adventurer from a legendary one.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Okay.
Yeah.
So we're diving into notes about the dwarves, the village of Meadow Creek itself, a blacksmith with a pretty fascinating past, some recent events that are raising some eyebrows, and even a Q&A about the wider world.
Ooh.
So get ready to take some notes.
Yeah. Think of it this way. The game master gives you the stage, but you bring the character to life.
Yes.
And we're here to give you the backstory, the motivations, the kind of details that make your choices matter even more.
I love that. Okay, so let's start. Big expert.
No.
Hit us with the creation myth.
Okay.
How did dwarves even come to be in this world?
Okay, well, what's fascinating is that the dwarves weren't always like the independent mountain-dwelling folk we think of.
Right.
They were actually created by the Sylvan elves as a workforce.
Whoa.
Can you imagine?
Yeah.
Being brought into existence just to swing a pickaxe.
That's a rough gig. No wonder they wanted out.
Yeah.
But the Dwarven Rebellion, it wasn't a war, was it?
No.
It was more like a mass quitting.
Precisely. During a massive war, the dwarves, who by then had learned to carve and awaken new dwarves themselves, they just left.
They dipped.
They packed up their tools and walked out on the Sylvans, right in the middle of a battle.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And the Sylvans call it a rebellion.
I know.
The irony.
Yeah.
It's like calling a walkout from a bad job, a hostile takeover.
Exactly.
But this tells us something about Meadow Creek, right?
Absolutely.
History is a bit subjective.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
It highlights the tension that still exists between the dwarves and other races.
Oh, yeah.
There's a legacy of resentment there,
Right.
since that history is written by the victors, you know?
For sure. For sure. Okay, so we've got these independent dwarves.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, they're a bit different.
They're a little different.
They carve new dwarves from stone. Right. There's more to it than that, right?
Oh, much more.
Yeah.
It's a ritual, almost like a dance between art and magic.
Oh, wow.
A dwarven elder will spend weeks carving a new dwarf from a special kind of stone.
Uh-huh.
Then they sing the life song for 7 days and nights, binding a spirit to the stone.
That's intense. And speaking of intense, they don't age.
They don't age.
But they accumulate wisdom over time.
Right.
Think about that for your character. You could be hundreds of years old with all that experience shaping your personality.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And here's a fun detail for role-playing.
Okay.
Dwarves eat certain types of rocks, absorbing the minerals.
Wow.
I know.
That's so cool.
Imagine everyone else is having a feast,
Yeah.
and your dwarf is happily munching on a chunk of granite.
That's amazing. Okay.
Yeah.
So we have these rock-eating, super old dwarves.
Mm-hmm.
And some of them have settled in Meadow Creek.
Right.
It's this seemingly peaceful village, but there's something more to it.
Right. There's always more to it than meets the eye.
Yeah.
Meadow Creek is built on the ruins of an ancient fort, a reminder of those very wars we were just discussing.
Oh, wow.
This is where your adventure begins. This is where your story unfolds.
Okay.
It's not just a village. It's a place with a past.
Right.
A place that will challenge you to become the hero it needs.
I love that. Okay, so we've got a great description in our sources, Meadow's Rest.
Oh, yeah.
The tavern run by Ildred and Beryl Goodwin, and their 3 daughters, Eleanor, Aveline, and Elowen.
The Goodwin family.
Sounds like a great place to start gathering information.
Absolutely.
Maybe even get a quest or 2.
Maybe even 3.
Right.
Yeah. The Meadow's Rest is the beating heart of Meadow Creek.
Mm-hmm.
It's where the news travels, rumors spread, and secrets are exchanged.
Oh, juicy.
Keep your ears open when you're there. You never know what you might overhear.
Okay, I'm taking notes. And speaking of interesting characters,
Yes.
we need to talk about Hammerface, the blacksmith.
Oh, he's a character, all right.
Ribbons around his neck. What's the story there?
I know, right?
He sounds like a sight.
He is. He's an outcast. He was shunned by his own people because of his appearance.
Oh, no.
Considered deformed.
Oh.
But in Meadow Creek, he found acceptance. He even saved the village from an ogre attack.
Wow. And get this. The Thane's daughter gave him a moonstone pendant as like a token of gratitude. Could be a simple gesture. But maybe there's something more there. A hint of a deeper relationship, perhaps.
Ooh, that's a good point.
Right. It's something to keep in mind as you interact with them.
It's all about those little details,
Yeah.
the things that make the world feel real with its own complex web of relationships and histories.
Right. But things aren't all sunshine and plums in Meadow Creek, are they?
Well,
What's the deal with these strange events?
this is where your campaign truly begins.
Okay.
Something is amiss in Meadow Creek.
Yeah.
Strange markings, missing livestock, even a barn fire.
Oh my gosh.
And the Thane has left to investigate, leaving his daughter in charge.
Okay, so not just a few pranks. This is serious stuff. We're talking gates left open, whispered rumors in the tavern, and a real sense of unease settling over the village.
Exactly.
It sounds like the peace Meadow Creek has enjoyed is about to be shattered.
And you, as a new arrival, are stepping right into the heart of it.
Oh my gosh.
It's your chance to prove yourself, to protect your new home, to become the hero Meadow Creek needs. What kind of hero will you be?
Ooh.
That's the question.
I'm getting goosebumps already.
It's a big question. The question that will drive your actions, shape your decisions.
Yeah.
Are you the cautious investigator,
Yeah.
the bold protector, the cunning strategist?
Right. I'm getting goosebumps already. But before we jump into, like, solving this mystery,
Yeah.
let's back up a bit.
Okay.
How did Meadow Creek even come to be? It wasn't always this quiet village, right?
You're right. It has a more turbulent past than you might expect.
Yeah.
Remember the Dwarven Rebellion we talked about?
Yeah.
Well, Meadow Creek is literally built on the ruins of one of the forts those dwarves built during their time serving the Sylvan Elves.
Really?
Imagine these forts were like the Wild West outposts of their day, marking the border between the elves and the goblinoid hordes.
Wow.
Yeah.
So basically, Meadow Creek is sitting on a war zone,
Pretty much.
a place soaked in history.
I bet those old walls could tell some stories.
They could. These forts saw countless battles as the elves and goblinoids clashed for control.
Right.
But eventually, both empires crumbled, leaving these forts to decay and nature to reclaim the land.
So Meadow Creek was basically a ghost town until Godric the Bold came along.
Exactly. About 40 years ago, Godric, this visionary leader with a knack for seeing potential,
Okay.
led a group of pioneers to this abandoned region. He saw the fertile land, the sturdy remains of the fort, and said, "We can build something here." And that's how Meadow Creek was born.
It makes you think, doesn't it?
It does.
This peaceful village with its plum orchards and bustling tavern is built on the bones of war. Kind of sets the stage for the troubles brewing now, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. It reminds us that peace is never a guarantee.
Right.
And the past has a way of catching up with the present.
Oh, for sure. Okay, so history lesson over.
History lesson over.
Back to the present day mystery.
Back to the mystery.
The Thane is off investigating, which means his daughter, Lady Athelsa, is calling the shots now.
Oh, yeah.
What do we know about her? Well, suddenly this young woman finds herself in charge of the village, responsible for the safety of everyone in it.
Yeah.
That's a lot of pressure.
Talk about trial by fire. What kind of leader do you think she'll be?
It's a good question.
Will she be strong and decisive or crumble under the pressure?
That's one of the things you'll have to discover. How will you interact with her?
Right.
Will you be a loyal supporter, offering your help and advice? Or will you challenge her authority, questioning her decisions?
This is why I love TTRPGs.
Me too.
The story isn't set in stone. You have a hand in shaping how it unfolds.
That's right.
Oh, I love that.
And remember, Lady Athelsa is a key NPC.
Right.
Someone you're likely to interact with a lot.
For sure.
Think about how your character would approach her, what kind of relationship they might develop. It could be crucial to your success or your downfall.
Ooh, intrigue. Speaking of crucial characters, let's go back to the Meadows Rest.
Okay.
We know Ildred and Beryl Goodwin run the place, but what about their daughters?
Yeah, what about them?
They seem like they could be more than just background NPCs.
Absolutely. Eleanor, the eldest, is known for her warmth and charm.
Okay.
Aveline, the middle daughter, is a bit more reserved, always attentive to the needs of the patrons.
Right.
And then there's Illywin, the youngest, a bright spark with a helping hand for everyone.
I'm already picturing them. Maybe one of them has a crush on a player character, or gets caught up in the mystery.
Possibly.
Or maybe they're secretly masterminds behind the whole thing.
Okay, maybe not masterminds, but they are a great source of information.
Right.
Think about it. They work in the tavern.
Right.
They hear everything.
Yeah.
All the gossip, all the rumors. They might know things even the Thane's daughter doesn't.
Right. So if you want to know what's really going on in Meadow Creek, a friendly chat with one of the Goodwin daughters might be the best place to start.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. And this is where your role-playing skills come in.
Yes.
How will you approach them? Will you be charming and flirtatious? Helpful and earnest?
Right.
Or maybe a bit gruff and intimidating?
Yeah.
Your approach could determine how much information they're willing to share.
Absolutely.
Okay, I'm getting the picture.
Yeah.
The Meadows Rest is the place to be, not just for ale and gossip, but for unraveling this whole mystery. Speaking of unraveling things, we haven't talked much about Hammerface's personality.
Hammerface.
Yeah, he's a hero, he's got ribbons, but what's he like to actually talk to?
Well, he's not exactly the most outgoing fellow.
Yeah.
He's known to be gruff, a man of few words.
Right.
But he's got a good heart, and he's fiercely loyal to those he cares about.
So the classic grumpy but lovable archetype? I bet he's got some amazing stories to tell.
Probably.
If you can get him to open up.
If you can get him to open up.
But he does. And don't forget, he's the best blacksmith in Meadow Creek.
That's right.
If you need your weapon repaired or maybe want something special forged, he's your guy.
Absolutely.
Just be prepared to be patient.
He's a craftsman, not a factory line.
Quality over quantity, right?
Yeah.
But what if you need something a bit more magical?
Ooh, magical.
Where would you go for enchantments or potions in this village?
Mistress Elfrecia, the village mage, is your best bet.
Okay.
She's got knowledge of both arcane and alchemical arts. If she can't help you directly, she can probably point you in the right direction.
Sounds like she's the one to talk to. If you need to stock up on healing potions or maybe find someone who can identify a mysterious magical artifact.
Yes.
Just in case you stumble upon one during your adventures.
Which, knowing this world, is entirely possible.
Right.
But remember, magic is a powerful force.
Right.
And not everyone who wields it is benevolent.
Oh, good point.
Be cautious who you trust, especially when dealing with the arcane arts.
Good advice. Okay, so we've got our friendly tavern, our grubby blacksmith, our wise mage. Who else should we be aware of in Meadow Creek? Any other key players?
Well, there's Old Man Thurston.
Yeah.
He's a bit of a local historian. A walking library of Meadow Creek's lore and legends.
Ooh, interesting.
He might know something about the strange events that are happening, especially if they're connected to the village's past.
So if we need someone to decipher ancient runes or translate cryptic prophecies,
Yes.
he's our guy.
Exactly. And don't underestimate the value of local knowledge.
Right.
Sometimes the most important clues are hidden in plain sight, just waiting for someone with a sharp mind and a keen eye to connect the dots.
I like that. Okay, so it sounds like we've got a pretty solid team of allies shaping up here in Meadow Creek.
I think so.
But what about the world beyond the village?
Ooh, that's a good question.
What else is out there?
Now that's for you to discover.
Okay.
But I can tell you this. The world is vast and varied, with towering mountains, dense forests, and shimmering lakes.
Whoa.
There are ancient ruins to explore, lost treasures to uncover, and maybe even a few dragons to slay.
Oh my God.
If you're feeling adventurous.
Okay, I'm in.
Yeah.
But let's bring it back to Meadow Creek for a moment.
Okay.
The Thane is gone. His daughter is in charge.
Right.
Is there anyone else who might be vying for power in the village?
Well, power dynamics can be complex.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
always someone who sees an opportunity to advance their own agenda, especially in times of uncertainty. Keep an eye on the village council, a group of influential individuals who advise the Thane. They might not be outright villains, but their loyalties could be tested as events unfold.
Oh, so we need to be wary of political maneuvering, not just monsters and magic.
Exactly.
This is getting complicated. And speaking of complicated, what about the gods in this world?
Oh, the gods.
We know there are two main deities,
Right.
Gob and Hume, but what's their relationship like? They're lovers and rivals.
I know.
That's a lot of drama.
It is, and it reflects the duality of existence, the balance between creation and destruction, order and chaos.
Right.
Their followers reflect this tension too.
Really?
You'll find devotees of Gob who revel in power, and those who follow Hume seeking peace and harmony.
So it's not a simple good versus evil situation?
No.
It's more nuanced than that, with shades of gray in between.
Exactly.
That's refreshing.
And it adds a layer of complexity to the moral choices you'll face in the game.
Oh, I like that.
Whose side will you take?
Yeah.
Will you align yourself with the forces of power or peace? Or will you forge your own path, balancing the opposing forces within yourself?
Whoa, that's deep. But this is the deep dive, after all.
Exactly.
But, all this talk about gods and magic, does anyone in Meadow Creek actually wield divine power? Are there any clerics or paladins or other holy warriors wandering around?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
And one that might be better answered through your own exploration of the village and its inhabitants.
Okay.
You never know who you might encounter,
Right.
what hidden talents or connections they might possess.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah,
Leaving some things for us to discover.
exactly.
But before we wrap up this part of our deep dive, any last words of wisdom for our listener about to embark on their first adventure in Meadow Creek?
Remember, the world is a living, breathing entity shaped by the actions of those who inhabit it.
Yeah.
Your choices matter, they have consequences,
Right.
and they will shape the fate of Meadow Creek and perhaps even the world beyond.
Wow. Okay. Okay, I'm getting so hyped to play in this world. But I have one more question before we send our listener off to save Meadow Creek. We've talked a lot about how dwarves are made, but what about their culture? What makes them tick?
Well, imagine being carved from stone, imbued with life through a ritual,
Right.
and raised in a community that values resilience, hard work, and mastery of their craft.
Yeah.
That's the essence of dwarven culture.
Wow.
They're not flashy or frivolous.
Right.
They're grounded, practical, and deeply connected to the earth itself.
So if I'm picturing a typical dwarf, I'm thinking strong, stoic, maybe with a beard braided with metal wire,
Yeah.
and hands calloused from years of working with stone and metal.
You're getting the idea. Dwarves are renowned for their craftsmanship, especially their metalwork and stonework.
Right.
Think about those incredible forts they built, the ones that still stand after centuries. That's the legacy they carry with them.
That's a pretty awesome legacy to live up to. So if our listener decides to play a dwarf, they're not just choosing a race.
Yeah.
They're choosing a whole way of life, a culture that's as sturdy and enduring as the mountains they call home.
Exactly. And it's important to think about how that cultural background will shape their character's personality, their values, and their motivations.
For sure. Okay, so we've got our dwarves figured out, we've explored Meadow Creek, we've met the key players, but let's zoom out a bit.
Okay.
What about the Kingdom of Alfstead? What's the political landscape like?
Ooh, good question.
What kind of ruler is King Aldfrith?
Well, King Alfred is a fascinating figure. Some view him as a wise and just ruler, while others see him as a distant and calculating monarch.
Okay.
He's definitely a pragmatist focused on maintaining order and stability within the kingdom.
So not exactly the warm and fuzzy type, more like the ends justify the means kind of king.
You could say that he's a shrewd politician and a skilled negotiator, but some might say he's lost touch with the common folk.
Right.
More concerned with consolidating his own power than addressing their needs.
And as we all know, absolute power corrupts absolutely.
It's true.
Are there any whispers of rebellion in the kingdom? Any disgruntled nobles plotting to overthrow the king?
Well, there are always those who seek to challenge the status quo, those who believe they could rule better than the current monarch.
Right.
And there are rumors of growing discontent among some of the nobility, those who feel King Aldfrith has become too isolated, too focused on his own agenda.
Intrigue. So our listener might find themselves caught in the middle of a power struggle, even if they're just trying to solve a local mystery in Meadow Creek.
It's possible.
Talk about pressure.
It is.
Okay, final question before we let our listener go.
Okay, shoot.
We've talked about the strange happenings in Meadow Creek, the clues, the possible culprits, but do you think it's possible that these events are connected to something bigger? Something more sinister than just a few mischievous goblins or a disgruntled villager?
That's a question worth pondering. Could these events be a symptom of something deeper?
Yeah.
Something festering beneath the surface of this seemingly idyllic world? Think about the history of Meadow Creek. The wars that raged on this very land, the remnants of fallen empires.
You're saying that maybe, just maybe, the past isn't as dead and buried as we might think. That ancient grudges, forgotten magic, or even slumbering evils could be stirring once more.
Oh.
I'm getting chills.
And that's the beauty of a well-crafted setting, isn't it? It's a world with layers, with secrets waiting to be uncovered, with possibilities that extend far beyond the immediate scope of the adventure.
Okay, listener, you heard it here first. Meadow Creek might seem like a quiet village, but something wicked this way comes. Be prepared for anything, and remember, knowledge is your greatest weapon. The more you understand about this world, its history, its factions, and its secrets, the better your chances of survival and success.
And don't forget to have fun.
Yes.
TTRPGs are about collaborative storytelling, about creating a shared experience with your fellow players. So relax, embrace the unexpected, and let your imagination soar.
Couldn't have said it better myself. All right, listener, it's time to grab your dice, gather your party, and embark on your adventure in Meadow Creek. We can't wait to hear all about it. Until then, may your journey be filled with both peril and wonder.